So that concludes the oral or the reading portion. Now we're going to move into written expression subtests. So the first one that I want to talk about is alphabet writing fluency. On all of these slides, as you can tell so far, I'm not reading the slides to you because you can read them yourselves. I've got the start and stop points and a little bit about the administration rules for each one. For alphabet writing fluency, it's typically used for, again, grades PK through 2, and it can be used for assessing lower functioning third graders. And you just say that you're going to be using a pencil without an eraser. So if you make a mistake, just cross it out. Note to everyone, make sure you have some pencils without erasers so that the students aren't confused. I had a great time when I was first learning how to administer all of these tests. I had no idea about pencils without erasers. That wasn't something that was necessarily taught in my classes. It was just something that was in the rules. So I was reading the instructions because I'm a little bit of a OCD when it comes to testing. And I was reading through and I'm like, wait, pencil without an eraser, because that was the one thing that I didn't have. So I used a pen. Now, I think it's totally okay for you guys to use pens with adults. That's not a problem. But with children, children are used to using pencils, and specifically like number 2 pencils, not necessarily in the mechanical pencils. So my suggestion to everyone is to go to Staples or Office Depot or any of your local supply stores and find some pencils without erasers. I searched diligently at all of those places, and when I was looking way back in the day, I couldn't find them at all. But I was able to find it online. Now, recently, I was at my local supply store, and I was able to find a packet of pencils without erasers. But I had a little separate eraser tops that went on there. So feel free to get some pencils without erasers, because it's actually in the instructions that you use a pencil without an eraser, specifically for this subtest and probably several of the others. So for these students, you say, I want you to write as many letters for the alphabet that you can. Write them as quickly as you can. The letter A has been done for you. And then you just point to the letter A in the response book and say, next to letter A, I want you to write letters you know. Do you have any questions? And you stop and start after 30. So for the spelling subtest, it's just as you would find for any other, any specific spelling test, rather. And doing the subtest will flash you right back to 2nd grade. And I've got a great story. 2nd grade, I was taking spelling tests, and I actually really loved spelling. I did fairly well in spelling, but for some reason, Mrs. Ruff, my 2nd grade spelling, or teacher, she's my 2nd grade teacher, would wear this black and white dress. And I'm still to this day not sure if it was black with white dots or white with black dots. But she would wear it during spelling days. And I would become transfixed with this dress and not really pay attention to the test itself and miss a couple of words. Never got 100% in her class, but that's why. So the point is, if you find that your student is drifting off and not really paying attention, make sure to check in with them. Of course, you would do that anytime you're doing any kind of testing anyway. So for this one, you also give them a pencil without an eraser. So of course, you're going to need to invest in that. And you say you're going to be using a pencil without an eraser. So if you make a mistake, just cross it out. And the administration is just like any other spelling test. There are a couple of stop and start rules for grades kindergarten through 1st grade. You start with item 1. For grades 2 through 12, you start with item 6. And really, you just say, I want you to write some words. I'll say a word, then use it in a sentence, then say the word again. Listen to the sentence so you know what word to write. So that takes you right back to 2nd grade, or at least it took me right back to 2nd grade every time I've had to administer that specific subtest. Sentence composition includes sentence combining and sentence building components, which measure sentence formulation skills including all types of things like grammar, syntax, semantics, and mechanics. This is a really great subtest for a number of different reasons, not just everything that I just read or just said, but also it looks at really how does the person in front of you compose their sentences. And this can go back to a number of different things, including learning disabilities. So you really just have the person, you say, I want you to write some sentences. You're going to be using a pencil without an eraser. If you make a mistake, just cross it out. And that's really all you have to say. You say this, you give them the response booklet and say, this one's been done for you. Here are 2 sentences. You read the 2 sentences, and then you ask them to put together. You could say these sentences have been put together in many ways. They can be put together in many ways, rather. One good sentence that combines these 2, and then you read that. I'm not going to read them just for copyright reasons. But in essence, you're taking 2 sentences, you're combining them into one that makes sense and says the same thing as the other 2. So with essay composition, this is something that's used for grades 3 through 12. So you're not looking at the little kids, although recently I was told that they're having kids as young as 5 years old write long papers, like 5-page papers, in their private schools. I think that's a little much, but you know, maybe these are the kids that are going to be going to Harvard later in life. So essay composition is really just writing from a prompt. You have the students, you're going to give them, again, a pencil without an eraser. So if they make a mistake, just cross it out. But you say, on this page, I'd like you to write an essay. Do your best writing, and also write neatly so that I can read it later. And you give them the blank page in the response booklet. You say, if you like, you can use this blank page to plan what you'll write. Write about your favorite game and include at least 3 reasons why you like it. Try to write a full page. Do you have any questions? And then you stop and start. You allow 10 minutes and just let them write as much as they want. Now, this is one of the subtests that my students have complained mightily about. There are some very specific rules for grading the essay composition, but it does take a while, especially if you're not used to grading it. It looks at the thesis, the conclusion, the introduction, the transitions, reasons why, elaborations. There's a lot to looking at and scoring this subtest. So again, if you're not familiar with it, you definitely want to go over with someone how to grade and how to score this specific subtest, because there's a lot to it.